Welcome back to Panenka Predictions, everyone. Last week we saw some amazing games of football, like Liverpool coming from behind to beat Southampton 3-2, and Celta Vigo scoring 2 late goals to earn a draw at home against Barcelona. We saw some huge surprises as well, like Spurs demolishing City in their own backyard. And we also saw some really entertaining games with loads of goals at both ends. And this week, we hope to predict more of the same. Before we do, please do me a favor and take what's the equivalent of like a quick free kick in football and just hit that like and subscribe button for me now, just to let me know that you're enjoying these videos and to help me grow this footballing community. Don't forget also to share your predictions in the comments for each of the games in the EPL or La Liga, even the Bundesliga or Serie A games this weekend. Let's kick off our predictions with the first game in the next round of the English Premier League, and that is Brighton at home against Southampton. Now, Brighton beat Bournemouth 2-1 away last weekend, and they keep on playing some really nice football. Southampton, once again, they lost again last weekend, and they keep on playing, well, some kind of football. Brighton will be confident of keeping their good run going, getting the 3 points against the last place Southampton, but just as Liverpool found out last weekend, beating Southampton is never as easy as it seems. I do, however, think that Brighton will get over the line in this one, but that's not going to be my prediction. This week, I'm just going to try and be a little bit safer because we've had so many surprises. I'm just going to go for Brighton to score at least 2 goals in this game. They've had a few 2-2 draws at home this season, and I just feel that it's safer to pick Brighton to at least score 2 goals in this game. Next off, we have Brentford, still undefeated at home this season, and they're hosting Leicester City. Now, Brentford actually have the best home record in the Premier League right now. And in their last 3 games, they've scored a massive 12 home goals. And they've only drawn once at home all season so far. And they're going to be really confident coming into this game. Now, however, although they have scored 12 goals in their last 3 home games, they also conceded 8 times. Now, that's not a really good defensive record, but it does make for an entertaining game for the home fans. Leicester come into this game fresh from a 2-1 loss at home to Chelsea, and before that there was a 3-0 loss away against Man U, so they'll be hoping for an improvement in this game. Unfortunately, it was the last straw for the coach, and he was giving his marching orders bright and early Monday morning. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Leicester managed to bulge the back of the net in this game, but I would be surprised if Brentford didn't end up winning it in the end. However, that being said, I'm still not taking the home team to get the home win. I'm not backing Brentford to get the home win. I just don't trust their back line at the moment. Instead, for this game, I'm predicting over 2.5 goals. I can see both teams scoring in this game, and it will probably be Brentford who will end up netting the winner. But either way, I just think it's going to be a really open game, and that will produce plenty of goals. So over 2.5 goals in this game for me. Next up, there's Crystal Palace at home against Newcastle. Palace recorded a 2-2 draw last time out when they played Aston Villa. They did take the lead early on in that game, but they got pegged back by an Ollie Watkins equaliser before eventually taking the lead just before half-time with a nice counter-attacking move. Villa, they had a penalty save before Palace took the lead, and both teams really created quite a few scoring chances, but they failed to make any of them count. And Ross Barkley, he managed to nab in an equaliser with a header in the 73rd minute for the home team, but I think out of the 2 teams, Palace will be the happier of the 2 with that result. Palace will be confident again this weekend, and they're hosting Newcastle, and I think this is going to be a tight and fairly even game. Newcastle, they kept the surprise results coming last week. They lost 2-0 at home to the Hammers. I mean, they did dominate that home game, and they had the majority of the goal-scoring chances, but it just wasn't their day. And they were picked off firstly from a corner, and then from a nice West Ham attack, and they lost 2-0. Their away form, really, it's not the best either. However, they do have quality players, and they will be able to trouble Crystal Palace at the back this weekend. I mean, their back line is nothing special either. And basically, the same can be said for Crystal Palace going forward. So I really feel that both teams to score is going to be the safest option for this game. If I had to pick a winner, I wouldn't. I think this game will probably end up in a draw. So my prediction between Crystal Palace and Newcastle is that both teams will score. Nottingham Forest are hosting Ipswich, in which should be another close and interesting encounter. Forest will be hoping to get back to winning ways after suffering 2 defeats in a row and conceding 3 goals in each of those games. Ipswich are now undefeated in their last 3 games after last round's 1-1 draw at home to Man U. They probably should have won that game, to be honest. They've actually scored 6 goals in their last 3 away games in the EPL, so Ipswich are not going to be shying away at all in this game either. To be honest, neither team is really in the best form right now, although over the course of the season, Forest have clearly been more consistent, and that will make them slight favourites also playing at home in this game. But given their current defensive issues, I'm not comfortable that they're going to keep a clean sheet in this game. So once again, my prediction will be that both teams will score. The ever-improving Wolverhampton Wanderers, they host Bournemouth in what should be a super entertaining game. Wolves will be in really high spirits after their 4-1 win against Fulham last weekend. They came from behind, and it would have been from 2-0 if Raul Jimenez hadn't missed that sitter. And they scored 4 unanswered goals, with Mateus Cunha having a great game. He bagged the brace in that game, and they went on to win that game comfortably. Now, both teams in this game are actually in decent scoring form. Bournemouth scoring their 8th goal last weekend in their last 5 games. Although they lost that game 2-1 to Brighton, they'll still come into this game confident of being able to pick up a result. Picking a winner here is not going to be easy, so once again, I'm going to stick with my favourites that both teams will score in this game. I mean, Bournemouth on their travels, they're not the best, and to be honest, I think I actually favour Wolves to get their 2nd home win of the season, but I'm just going to try and play it safe, and I'll predict that both teams will score. Now we're off to London to see West Ham hosting Arsenal. Now, West Ham, have they finally got their act together? I mean, they played well last weekend and they got a surprise win away at Newcastle, and that will boost the team's morale for this really intense and hard home fixture. It was a snatch and grab victory for the West Ham side, as Newcastle were clearly the better of the two teams on the day, but West Ham, they were just clinical. They had, I think, only 2 chances in that game, and they scored them both. Arsenal last weekend, they beat Nottingham Forest 3-0, and they played some really nice football. I think Arteta gave them a really simple and inspiring motivational pre-game talk of
time to slice and dice,
as that's exactly what they went out to do. Saka and Odegaard both had amazing games. And that win though, however, that comes after a draw and 2 losses. So Arsenal really do need to start showing more consistency. West Ham's home form though, it's not too bad to be fair. I mean, they beat the team they're supposed to beat, and then they lose to teams that are sort of hanging around the top 4 spots. Arsenal, however, have a very difficult midweek game to deal with first, as they're travelling to Portugal to take on Sporting Lisbon. And that may just give the Hammers a slight advantage coming into this game. However, based on West Ham's records against teams around the top 4, Arsenal should win this game. But I personally feel that midweek encounter against Sporting is going to take its toll. So instead, once again, I'm predicting for both teams to score in this game. Let me know your thoughts on this game and any other games that interest you down in the comments. Staying in London now for our next game, we've got Chelsea at home against Aston Villa. The Blues beating Leicester 2-1 away from home last time out, with the informed Nicholas Jackson opening the scoring for Chelsea. That win lifted the Blues into 3rd place in the Premier League, and they'll be hoping to strengthen that claim for a Champions League spot against an Aston Villa who, they're starting to remind me of that TV show, what's that TV series from the early 2000s? What was it called again? The Villains are now winless in their last 6 games. They rescued a home draw against lowly Crystal Palace last weekend, and then also they need to play against Juventus in midweek. So the signs don't look good for a tiring Villa coming into this game. I feel that Chelsea are just going to be the fresher and the more informed of these two teams at the moment, and I do see them getting the home win here against, like I said, a tired Aston Villa. They look very stretched at the moment. So my prediction is for a straightforward home win for Chelsea. Manchester United will be hoping to secure their first home win under their new coach Ruben Amorim, as they host the very flavourless Toffees at Old Trafford. Man U took a lightning quick lead against Ipswich in their last game, Rashford scoring in only after the first minute. Ipswich soon equalised, and for the rest of the game they actually looked the better of the two teams. They created better chances and more of them, and on any other day, if they were finishing those chances a little bit better, they could have won that game. Man U's opponents this weekend, Everton, however, are a far less adventurous team, shall we say. 2 scoreless draws on the trot now, and if you look back at their last 8 games, only 2 of those games had over 2.5 goals in them, so I'm really not expecting too much from the travelling Blues this weekend. In all honesty, it looks just to be pointing to a normal and probably quite lackluster win for Manchester United, maybe 1-0 or 2-0 in the end. So just to be safe and boring, like Everton, I'm going to predict a home win for Manchester United in this game. I can just see Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, or maybe even, what's that guy's name, Gazpacho, scoring in this game, and Man U will just come away with all 3 points. Next up, we have the always surprising Tottenham Hotspur playing at home against London rivals Fulham. Now, what can we say about Tottenham? They lose at home to Palace, and then they smash 4 past Man City away. And for their next trick, will they now lose at home against Fulham? If they do, then at least we can say that they're being consistent. Kulusevski and James Maddison, they were on fire last week, and they'll be hoping to bring that form into this game this weekend. And surely after the performance of the whole team last week, they're going to go on and do the same to Fulham this weekend, right? Who knows, man, I can't tell. Fulham are just as inconsistent as Tottenham so far this season. I mean, they were battered 4-1 at home against Wolves last weekend. However, they have managed to record a few decent draws away this season. But, I mean, seriously, if a team wins 4-0 away from home against a good side, and the next opponents, they lost at home and conceded 4 goals against, a poorer side, there should only be one winner in this game, shouldn't there? I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same as well. It's Tottenham. But can we trust them to do the job this weekend? My answer is yes. I do see Tottenham backing up last week's scintillating performance by getting another 3 points in this home game against Fulham. The players now, with Song back in form, are also in form and back on song. And I see them scoring a few goals at home this weekend. So my prediction for Tottenham at home against Fulham is for Tottenham to score at least 2 goals in this game. Look, they should win this game, to be honest, but if they do win it, I can't see them winning by a 1-0 scoreline. So I'm just going to stick with Tottenham to score at least 2 goals in this game. And then we're on to the big one. It's Spurs taking on second as Man City travel away to Liverpool to face Liverpool. For both teams, it was very much as you were in the last round, as Liverpool continued their winning ways and Man City carried on with their unusual streak at the moment. And if Liverpool beat Man City this weekend, then their lead at the top will extend to a massive 11-point lead. And that won't even be over Man City. Man City might even drop down to 5th place if they lose this weekend and other results go against them. This is a huge game for both teams. Liverpool to extend their lead at the top and Man City to try and close that lead down. And both teams have serious Champions League games to deal with midweek as well. City will be home against Feyenoord, and they'll be hoping to use that game as a launching pad to change their fortunes and to get that winning feeling again. And Liverpool are at home to Real Madrid. So I do think Liverpool obviously have the much harder of the 2 midweek games to contend with. But seriously, Man City, what the is going on? 5 losses in a row now, and Guardiola's side, they can't afford any more slip-ups from here on. And honestly, the less said about the Manchester City defense right now, the better. But I will say this. And against an informed Liverpool attack away at Anfield this weekend, it's going to be a huge ask for Pep's team. Liverpool scored 3 goals away at Southampton last weekend to come away with a very difficult but priceless 3 points. You could really see how much it meant to them when they just went nuts after scoring the winning goal. And they will be chomping at the bit to get at City's overexposed backline in this game. It should be a very exciting game, especially for the home supporters. And to be honest, I just see this informed Liverpool side being far too strong at the moment for this lost, out of sorts Manchester City, Manchester shitty right now. And I see Liverpool coming away with really a convincing and a crucial home win here. And I don't think it's going to be by 1 goal either. I can see Liverpool scoring at least 2 or 3 against Man City this weekend. And so my prediction is going to be for Liverpool to score at least 2 goals in this game. Not to win it, just for Liverpool to score 2 goals. I want to keep it as safe as I can. What do you think will happen in this top 2 clash? Let me know your thoughts for Liverpool versus Man City in the comments. And now we're off to Spain, where Barcelona will be hoping to get their first win in 3 as they take on Las Palmas at home. And Real Madrid look to continue their good form as they also play at home against Getafe. First off, it's Barcelona hosting Las Palmas. Now, Barcelona will be strong favourites to get the win here, and even though right now they seem to be suffering a bit of slump in form, they did show enough in their away draw against Celta Vigo last week to suggest that they will claim all 3 points here. But they may also concede again in this one. The way the Barca defense performed in the last game, I would not be surprised if they conceded at home in this game at all. I mean, Jules Koundé, what the was he doing when he gave that ball away inside his own penalty box, facing his own goal with the player pressuring him? I mean, just kick it out, man. If in doubt, kick it out. That's a schoolboy rule. And his monumental let Celta back into the game, and soon after that they equalized, and they look honestly the more likely to win that game. Las Palmas right now look to have found their scoring boost, as in their last 2 games they scored 5 goals. However, they also conceded 4. That means it could be an entertaining game this weekend, with Las Palmas possibly catching Barca's high back line off guard. That being said, Barcelona alone have the quality to put 3 or 4 past this Las Palmas side, even without an injured Lamine Yamal, especially if they keep on using this long ball, which has been working so well this season under the new coach, Hansi Flick. As a Barca fan for many years now, I can tell you that the long ball has never been an option in Barcelona's style of play. You know, it's always been tiki-taka and high pressure and things like that. But this season, the long ball, the through ball, it's working wonders for Barcelona. Most of our goals are coming from that direct route. So for this game, I really see an exciting game. Barcelona getting the home win and over 2.5 goals in this game. That's going to be my prediction. Blaugrana back to winning ways. Las Palmas, they might score, but either way, it's going to be 3 or 4-1 Barcelona. And then we're off to the capital. We're off to Madrid to see a kind of local derby between Real Madrid and Getafe. Los Merengues will be looking to carry on their impressive form and try and close the gap to 1 point on the league leaders, Barcelona. Madrid were far too hot for Leganés last weekend. They beat them 3-0, and that result came after a convincing 4-0 win at home against Osasuna the week before. Mbappe finally managed to not get caught offside as he scored an amazing goal from 3 yards out. After a great pass from Vinicius Jr., he literally served it up on a plate and cut up the little pieces and he fed it to him. It was so simple, you couldn't miss, unless you're Raul Jimenez. Valverde also scored a really nice free kick, and Bellingham nodded in the third to seal the win for Real Madrid. Getafe, well, they're languishing down in 15th place at the moment, and they shouldn't really provide too much resistance against this Madrid. Their 2-0 home win against Valladolid on the weekend was actually their first league win in their last 6 games. Getafe, they kind of remind me of Everton in the EPL. Like, they just play boring games. In the last 9 games, only one of them had over 2.5 goals in them. They try to keep it tight and really uneventful, but this weekend, that's going to be a difficult task. Madrid should come away with an easy win in this game. The only question is, by how much? Madrid are also away to Liverpool in the Champions League midweek, and that might take its toll as well. So, will they tear Getafe a new one in this game? Or will they actually struggle to break them down and maybe scrape a 1 or 2 win? Historically, this game actually tends to be a low-scoring affair, and it may end up the same this time. But I'm still fairly confident that Madrid will win this game quite easily and will score at least 2 goals in doing so. So I'm going for a home win for Las Fantasmas and over 1.5 goals. And that's all the games for this coming weekend of football from the EPL and La Liga. I'd love to know your predictions, so pop them in the chat for me, and please don't forget, like and subscribe and share this channel with your other footballing friends as well, so we can all share our predictions and have a bit of banter and take the mick and have a laugh. I hope you all have a great week. Enjoy the Champions League football midweek, and I'll see you all again here in around 1 week's time. Enjoy the football. Hasta la semana que viene.